Right. Let's look at 2025 GCE O-Level Paper 2, question number 3. We have been given a rectangle. So let me shade the width of the rectangle in pink and the length in green. Right. So what's the length of the rectangle here? What's the length of the rectangle? The entire thing is x plus 2x plus x. Altogether, we get 4x. The length is 4x. And what's the width? The width is this entire thing, that is from here to here. What I am coloring now, it's x plus the other part, what I am showing in blue here, that is 6 plus the other part, let me shade in orange, that is x. So all together we get x plus x is 2x, so 2x plus 6. What we are looking at is, we are looking at a rectangle whose length is 4x and the width is 2x plus 6. And what has happened now? What have they done? This rectangle, they have left some spaces empty and the rest of the area is covered with stripes, or they have shaded. And they have said the shaded area is 316. How do we find the shaded area? We have been asked to show that x squared plus 6x minus 79 is 0. So how do we show that? We got to build an equation which has these components. So how do we get x squared into our equation? What's the area of each empty square here? Let me label the square with, let me put number 1, number 2. There are 4 squares, and we have been told all of these squares are congruent, identical to each other. So what's the area of square number 1, the empty square number 1? How do you find the length of a square? That's length of a side times length of a side. Or we can also simply say as length into breadth. So x into x. So what's the area of square number 1? X into x, x squared. Right. Seems that to get this equation, what we have to take into consideration is the areas. So let's build an equation that has the areas of the components what we see. So Roman 1, the area of the shaded region. How do we get the area of the shaded region? It would have been better had they said in Roman 1, taking area of the shaded region into consideration, show that x squared plus 6x minus 79 is equal to 0. But they haven't said so. But still, we feel we feel that the concept or the idea of what we have to use is the area of the shaded region to get the Roman 1's answer, right? So area of the shaded region is equal to area of the rectangle area of rectangle minus, now which rectangle am I referring to? For the sake of explanation, let me say ABCD, the big rectangle. So area of rectangle ABCD, from that you have to subtract the 4 empty squares. Those are the ones which are not shaded. So area of rectangle ABCD minus area of 4 squares. There are 4 squares which are identical to each other. Right. Now just a matter of plugging in the values. Area of the shaded region, have they given that to us? Yes, they have given that. They have said the shaded area is 316. So you put 316 is equal to, what's the area of the rectangle ABCD? Now have they given us a numerical value for the area of rectangle ABCD? No, nowhere in the question it is given to us, but still we can find the area of the rectangle ABCD in terms of x. How do we do that? How do we find the area of a rectangle? It is length into breadth, or length into width of the rectangle, length into breadth. Length into breadth minus, what's the area of the square? Area of the square, we haven't been given a numerical value, but we know in terms of x we can find the area of one square, that's length into breadth. So x is the length, and what's the breadth of a square? That is also x. So x into x. But we are what have we said here? We have said we are removing 4 squares from the rectangle ABCD. The square number 1, 2, 3 and 4, and all of them are congruent. They are identical to each other. So we find the area of one square, then multiply by 4, the area of 4 squares. So then we get 316 is equal to, what's the length of the rectangle ABCD? We have taken it as 4x. So 4x times, what's the breadth? We have found a while ago, we wrote it down, that is 2x plus 6. So length times the breadth, so 4x times 2x plus 6. Four x is the length and 2x plus 6 is the breadth. So we are multiplying 4x by 2x plus 6. Subtract what the area of all 4 squares collectively. X into x is x squared times 4. What is x squared times 4? That is 4x squared. Now we have 316. Let's expand the brackets. Let's remove the brackets. 4x times 2x. 4 times 2 is 8. X into x is x squared. So that's 8x squared. 4x times 2x, we get 8x squared. Now we go to multiply plus 6 by 4x. So what is 4x times 6? That is plus 24x minus 4x squared. Alright, now just a matter of simplifying what we see in the right hand side. Let's go to a new page to do the simplifying. Let's go to a new page and let's simplify. We have 316 equals, let's simplify the right hand side. We have 8x squared here. With that, with 8x squared, whom would interact? This minus 4x squared would interact. What is 8x squared minus 4x squared? It is 4x squared. 24x, there's no any other x's to interact with, so plus 24x would come as it is. Alright, have we got what they wanted us to get? No, not yet. What's the problem? In what they want us to get, they want one side of the equation to be 0. All x's and the numbers has to be in one side and another side has to be 0. So let's do that. Let's collect. Let's write 4x squared plus 24x. Let's ask 316, this white 316 to go to the other side. It is plus 316. When it goes to the other side of the equation, what would it be? It will become minus 316. Now what is remaining in the left hand side of the equation? Only 316 was there. That 2 traveled to the right. Now what is remaining in the left hand side? Simply 0. Alright. So now we are getting closer to the equation what they want. We made one side of the equation 0. So let's try the same thing. We can write the same thing as what? Since they want the right hand side to be 0, let's try the same thing once again. 4x squared. No changes in signs, just that we are writing the same thing. Just that we are writing the same thing again, but we are writing all the numbers and the letters in the left and number 0 in the right. Right. But still a problem. What's the problem? Still we haven't got what they wanted us to get. In their equation, there is no coefficient for x squared. In front of x squared, it is 1. But in our one, it's 4. So that's a problem. So how do we make sure that this 4 disappears? We want to make sure that x square's coefficient is 1. To make sure that x square's coefficient is 1, what we do is we divide 4x squared by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. But can I simply divide only 4x squared by 4? No, if I do so, this equal sign will no more stay with us. He'll say, hey, come on, that is unfair. I don't want to be with you all anymore. I can't just divide only one term by 4 when it comes to an equation. If I'm dividing a term by 4, I go to divide all other terms of the equation by 4. Everything gets divided by 4. I can't just divide only one term by 4. If I just divide only one term by 4, I'm altering the meaning. I'm changing the meaning of the equation, which I'm not allowed to do. So to preserve the meaning, I divide all the terms by 4. So let's see what happens. So 4 to 4 get cancelled, or 4 divided by 4 is 1. It's 1x squared. 1x squared means simply x squared. You don't have to write the 1. What's 24 divided by 4? It is 6 minus, and what is 316 divided by 4? It is 79. And what is 0 divided by 4? Anything, whenever you divide 0 by something, you always get the answer 0. So 0 divided by 4 is 0. Alright, now let's see whether our answer matches, or the equation what we have matches with what they wanted us to get. Yes, it does match. Alright, so we have shown that x squared plus 6x minus 79 is 0. Alright, we are done with Roman 1. Let's look at Roman 2. We have been asked to find the value of x to the nearest first decimal place. And they have asked us to take the square root of 22 as 4.69. Alright. So Roman 2, to find the value of x, what we've got to do is we've got to solve this Roman 1's equation. So let's solve it. So let me go to a new page. So Roman 2. We are supposed to solve the equation what we built in Roman 1. So what is the equation? X squared plus 6x minus 79 is equal to 0. Right. So to solve this equation, or to find the roots of this equation, the method I'm going to use, there are two methods, or rather three methods to solve a quadratic equation. The factorizing method. Number 1 is factorizing method. Number 2 is the quadratic formula. And the third method is completing the square method. Factorizing doesn't work here. How do I know? One thing is, since it's in paper 2, by looking at the past patterns of the past papers, examiner has never given a quadratic equation that can be solved using factorizing method in paper 2. So due to that fact, or even we can check, but why waste time? Why should we waste time when we have seen many papers, and when we know that always the examiner tries to test our knowledge of quadratic formula or completing the square method in paper 2. So let's solve this equation using the method of quadratic formula. I'll do both the methods. First I'll do the quadratic formula method. Then I'll do the same equation using the method of completing the square. Right, what's the quadratic formula? You've got to know that by heart. So it is x is equal to minus b plus or minus, let me put the square root sign in a nice way. It is b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. You got to know this quadratic formula by heart. Alright, x is equal to, what is b's value? What is a here? What is a? The coefficient of x squared. So what is the coefficient of x squared? It's 1. And what's the b value? It's plus 6, or simply 6. And what is c? That is minus 79. Alright, so x is equal to minus, what's the b's value? 6 plus or minus square root of b squared, that is b6, 6 squared minus 4 times a. What is a? That's 1 times c. What is c? c is minus 79. Minus 79 divided by 2a. That is 2 times, what's a's value? It's 1. So x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus comes the square root sign. 6 squared is 36. Now you got to be careful. You can't just put this minus sign as it is. It is involved in a multiplication. So minus into plus. This 1 is a plus 1. So minus into plus is minus. And minus into minus is plus. It is plus. 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 into 79 is 4 into 79 is 8 times 4 is 320, so 316. Divided by 2 times 1. What is 2 times 1? That's 2. Alright, let's take this and go to a new page, do further. We have x equals minus 6 plus or minus square root of what? What is 36 plus 316? It is 300 352. 316 plus 36 plus 316 is 352. Divide by 2. Alright, now we are stuck. How do we find the square root of 352? Now, should we use logarithm? No, we don't have to, because in the question they have told us something. Let's see what have they told us. Look at Roman 2, the question. They want us to take square root of 22 as 406, square root of 22 as 4.69. Right. But we don't have a square root of 22 yet. What we have is square root of 352. How can we use that square root of 22 information? Can't we break this 352? Square root of 352 is an entire third. So let's break it. How can we break it? Since they have given square root of 22, shall we check whether 352 comes in the 22 times table? Let's divide 352 by 22. Now, why am I going for 22? Why, out of nowhere, why am I picking 22? Because they have given us the square root of 22. So I feel like we can break the entire square root 352 using 22. So let's see how many 22s are there in 352. How many 22s are there in 35? It's 1. 1 times 22 is 22. How much remaining? That's 13 and 132. Has how many 22s? 20 times 6 is 120. Then how many 22s are there in 132? It is 6. So 16 times 22 is 132. What does that mean? Minus 6 plus or minus square root of 352. The entire 352 can be splitted as 16 times 22. 16 into 22. divided by 2. So then x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus what square root of 16? What is square root of 16? It is 4. So 4 is square root of 16 times what is square root of 22? We don't know by heart. They have given to us. What's square root of 22? 4.69. So 4 times 4.69. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 22 is, since they have given to us, we can use it, 4.69 divided by 2. Then what do we have next? Let's multiply. So x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus, what is 4 times 4.69? Let's do the multiplication. 4 times 4.69. So when we multiply, what do we get? 18.76 divided by 2. Now let's split it. So x is equal to minus 6 plus 18.76 divided by 2, or else x equals minus 6 minus 18.76 divided by 2. So here we get the answer as what? X equals, what is minus 6 plus 18.76? It's minus 6, it's minus and pluses together. So what happens? They are enemies. So who's going to win here? Plus is bigger. So plus is going to win by how much? By the gap. What's the gap between 16 and 18.76? That's 12.76. When we subtract 6 from 18.76, we end up getting 12.76 divided by 2. So x is equal to, what is 12.76 divided by 2? That is 6.38. And here what do we get for x? Minus 6 minus 18.76 give us minus 24.76 divided by 2. Here we get x equals minus 12.38. Now out of these two answers, now we have got two values for x. We have got both the roots for x. Out of those two values for x, in this question, which one is the valid one? One to be excluded. What to be excluded? Negative minus 12.38 to be excluded. Why are we excluding that? Because here x represents a length. X represents a length. How do we know that? Look at the picture. Here, what is x? X is the length of the square. Length of a side of a square. Can the length of a side of a square take a negative value? No, it cannot. All lengths always take positive values. Due to that fact, so let's make the statement. It is not a must to make the statement. but I just, for the sake of clarity, let me say, I'll say x is a length, x is a length, therefore x cannot take a negative value. X cannot take a negative value. So the only value x can take is, so only value x can take is 6.38. All right. Right. But let's see whether the examiner is happy with 6.38 or he wants us to give the answer by rounding. So Roman 2, let me bring the question once again to the screen. So here comes the question. So they want us the value of x to the nearest first decimal place. Nearest first decimal place, okay. Oh, what they're trying to say is round our answer to the first decimal place. So then x equals 6 point. Before we write the digit what's there in the first decimal place, we see what's next to it. That's 8. 8 is bigger than 5. Then what do I do to the 3? I add 1. So x equals 6.4 centimeters. We can say rounded to or correct to 1 decimal place. Rounded to 1 decimal place or correct to 1 decimal place. Right. Let's see what's Roman 3. They want us to find the perimeter of the shaded region. So what